Hi there everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Prestige Liquids. My name is Andrew, and as always it is fantastic to have you here with me again on another whiskey review video. Now if you're new to the channel, then please consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you can stay up to date with all future content. And if you're a returning subscriber, then again, thank you for joining me along my journey so far. It is always a pleasure to have you here with me, sharing in my reviews, and I hope that I give you all an opportunity to discover, I guess, whatever Australian whiskies and other things that I review. So without further ado, I am going to pour a little sample of the whiskey that I have today. There we go. Now this whiskey comes from a distillery located in my home state of New South Wales. The distillery is called the Aisling Distillery, and the whiskey that I'm going to be reviewing for you today is, I guess, it's one of their first whiskey releases. So for a while now, the team at Aisling have been patiently aging their stock, and they I think it was just either at the end of I think it was just towards like the end of December, I think, where they started to actually finally release their whiskey. So again, like I said, they're very new distillery, and they've finally gotten a chance to start selling their whiskey. So this particular release is their Tawny, their Tawny cask single malt. I believe it is part of what they're calling their heritage collection, and obviously this is their series 1. They have aged the spirit in 100-litre Australian vintage Tawny casks, and this has been bottled at 49% ABV. Now I have to say, I have been, I guess, quite fortunate since I have been reviewing a lot of Australian whiskies lately. I have actually started to build up a really good relationship with quite a few local distillers. And again, recently I had been contacted by Mark and Michelle from the Aisling, asking if I would like to receive some samples from them to be able to experience their whiskey. So that's a nice, I would say, full disclosure there. One of my conditions, as always, was that I would only accept these samples if I'm able to give my own honest feedback without like any outside influence, or obviously like for them to not expect let's say a positive review. And I guess the one good thing about a lot of our distillers is they themselves have a lot of integrity and are just generally great people to deal with. They wouldn't have it any other way. They are more than happy for me to, I guess, review this and just say what I need to say about it. So that gives me, I guess, a lot of confidence, and being able to be a lot more comfortable with being able to receive samples and also do these reviews. So enough of that. You're here for the review. You don't need to hear me blabber on too much. Let's see what we get. So as I mentioned, this is their Tawny cask single malt, bottled at 49% ABV. So let's see what we get on the nose. Oh wow, straight away you just get this impressive burst of flavor. You get these nice sweet fruity notes. Think stone fruits like plums, peaches, and then as that kind of fades away, you get more like sugary notes. So think caramelized sugar, honey, and now I'm also getting hints of like cereal grain, kind of like cornflakey in my opinion. And just a very soft but yet gentle influence of the barrel. So I'm getting a light hint of barrel char. There is a slight tinge of smoke coming through from the barrel, but it's not too much, just a nice amount just to kind of accentuate those notes that are coming through. All right, let's move on to the palate and let's see what we get. So cheers. Wow. So straight away you get a nice spicy mouthfeel. For me, the mouthfeel is kind of like it's like a medium. It's like a medium mouthfeel that just kind of wants to try and just get a little bit longer. But again, it's nice and thick, nice and syrupy. You get a nice like tingly sensation from the ABV. And now again, moving on from that, it's also very sweet. So you're getting, think again from the from the nose, think of those like plum and peach style of notes, but instead of being like your typical like fruit note, this is a sweetness that's a bit more similar to, I guess, when you're eating a like a cup of like a cup of like peaches, like when you have like all like those sugar syrups and things like that in them. The barrel influence here is a lot more prominent on the palate, and I'm glad that has come through. So again, you're having a much more, I guess, intense flavor coming through from the cask. There's a nice level of char. There is again some nice spice that's coming through. Now I'm not sure what type of oak has been used for this, but the flavor profile that I'm getting, it's probably something a little bit more similar to a bourbon cask, where I'm getting more, say, vanilla influence. There's a lot more like cereal grain. What else? There's something else there that I just can't pick just yet. All right, so it's quite nutty. I'm kind of getting like a touch of like cashew and macadamia, and as that is like fading away, I'm also getting, again, it keeps evolving and bringing something new. What else is that? Kind of like pine needles. Yeah, it definitely has like a pine style of note that's coming through. And normally when I get that, it's usually quite solventy, and like the spirit itself tastes like quite young. This does not feel like that at all. Again, so I'm not too sure how old these actually are, but it does have a very mature feel to it. I would say that I guess it has like a nice gentle like Speyside style to it. Moving along to the finish, again you can expect some more of those sweeter notes coming through. So again, it's quite peachy, sweet, honey, a little bit of toffee, and also it's got, yeah, it's just one of those whiskies that just keeps opening up on you. Just when you think that you're pinpointing a note, that note changes, and then it takes you off into a different direction. I think on the finish I'm also getting like a hint of like raspberry. There's a certain tartness that's coming through as well, which is very interesting. That's not something that I had gotten on throughout the other stages of the tasting. So I'm looking forward to being able to sit down with the rest of this sample and just try it in different ways, whether I add water to it or just let it sit for 20 minutes and just let it open up completely, just to see what it's going to get, because I can imagine that it is just going to keep opening up and just developing really, really nicely. Guys, this, like I said, this is now going, say, to Mark and Michelle. I mean, this is one of your first releases. This is an absolutely fantastic Australian single malt. So I think if this is the level of quality of what you guys are putting out at the moment, I absolutely look forward to seeing what you guys will be releasing in the future. And I just remembered, I forgot to write this down before. I almost signed off without mentioning this. Now, I at first was kind of under the impression that I had not tried anything from Aisling Distillery before. But here's a bit of a clue for you. For those of you who are familiar with some of the independent bottling releases from Craftworks Distillery, another local New South Wales distillery, Crafty has actually used some of the Aisling Distillery spirit and aged it himself for part of his independent bottling projects. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head which particular ones that he has used, but I think if you see some of them that say that it's like an undisclosed New South Wales distillery, I'm fairly certain that most of those have come from Aisling. And yeah, so if you've tried any of those, then there you go. You have also tried some of the Aisling spirit before without realizing it. So definitely go and check out like some of those releases from Craftworks, and I guess more importantly, definitely go and check out these releases from the Aisling Distillery before they run out. I think you will not be disappointed. I have another sample of theirs to review. Hopefully I'll be able to get that done soon. That is an Apera, an Apera cask finish. So again, looking very forward to trying that, and I will be reviewing that for you shortly. Alright, that's it. I'm going to sign off now. As always, as you know, my name is Andrew, and I'll see you all again on the next video. So get this.